How
are you guys doing?
Doing very good. I have with me Krish. I also have with me Eric, who is a radiology expert, and then I have Darwin David, who is anesthesia expert.
Excellent. We're just waiting on and Andrew. These are the two blokes that developers for the Smart Coach, Smart Navigator tool. So give them a couple of minutes. I just spoke with them earlier. They're ready to go. So we'll just give them a couple of minutes if you don't mind. Okay?
No issues.
Yeah. A quick second. Connect. I don't see his headset yet.
Yep.
Okay, Andrew, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hello to the folks in India.
Hey, good evening, Andrew. This is Srini, Krish, Eric, and Darwin.
Good evening and good morning.
Yeah.
And then we'll get started, guys. So you guys have an hour, right? Hopefully we should be done before that, but depends on how much questions you guys have on the demo. But I budgeted an hour for this, if that's okay with you guys.
Well, that should be fine. And this is basically to understand what it can do and how it can help us. I would suggest that after we have this demo, you could do a test or trial version for us, or if you have hands-on experience using it, we would be able to evaluate the software better.
Okay. Hey, did you unmute yourself? Okay, I think he unmuted himself. Okay.
I just don't want there to be any background noise, so I'll just mute while I'm not
okay. All right.
I'm from Boston.
You're Boston. How's the weather now?
It's incredibly cold, but it's not snowing currently, which is nice. But we've had, I'm not originally from Boston. I'm from further south in the United States, but we have, where I live, we have 96 inches of snow that's fallen in the last 4 weeks. So it's been pretty unbelievable, and the fact that it's only 0 degrees Fahrenheit and not snowing seems like a good day. So it's been interesting.
Lucky in Chennai, or wherever you're located in India.
When I was traveling a week, 10 days before the Syracuse and other places, oh man, I saw 8 to 10 inches in a single day. And that itself was difficult for me.
Yeah, by the time you come here to Chicago in April, all this will be history.
The first big storm we got here, there was
wind chills then in April.
We had almost 30 inches of snow in one storm earlier this year, so it's been interesting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. You just deal with it, I guess.
Just passed over the control of the screen to Kyle. Kyle, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
You're a presenter and you're a host, so run with it, sir. For everybody's just by introduction, Kyle actually is the key developer for this product. So Kyle, take it away.
We'll jump into it. Let me just go ahead and
I'll run around and do quick introductions just so I'll get a little more familiar.
Yeah, that might be good. Srini, can you start off and sometimes there's clarity over voice over IP is not very clear. So speak a little loud, speak a little slow, but introduce each and every one of you so that we these guys know who you are and that type of thing.
Srini here. I'm the CEO of Medrona Inc. Medrona is a 8-year-old billing company. My experience has been in the medical billing space since 1995, when I had the opportunity to set up the first outsourcing of medical billing activity from United States to India. And I was the first guy to set it up for a group of physicians back in 1995. The way that I've been associated with the development of the revenue cycle management services out of India since 95 and grew it. And this is my own company, and I've partnered with other persons to set it up. And we have a U.S. operations too. We only service billing companies in the U.S. And we have also started with individual physicians. We are aligned with some EMR companies too, and so we look at the 1Bs and 2Bs of in the solo practice settings, small practice settings, where the EMR focuses the company which I am associated with is predominantly popular in that segment. So that is my strategy, and my background and the strategy is to work with retail customers in the coming years. So the product, we are keenly looking to see how we can leverage it, and retail customers that we work with, we have current base through our collaboration and direct customers, 1,400 physicians that we bill for. So we are interested in looking at this product. I have with me Krish, who has facilitated this introduction to Ram. So he is also in this call. He runs a transcription service, and we work together on some projects. Then I have Eric, who is who's a domain expert on radiology. We do around 50,000 radiology charts a month for our customers. We use A-Life as well as we code from that are scanned to us. Dorman heads the anesthesia group, and we code around 35,000 anesthesia records, pain management services in a month for our customers. We are multi-specialty, broadly all surgeries and other what do you call it, outpatient setting, ambulatory settings where there are coding requirements, which send to us for coding. There is a separate group which handles that. So that is basically superbulks are scanned to us, and we look at diagnosis coding. And there'll be a crosswalk from the description to the selection of the code. So we do, and that is our background. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very helpful. A little background on myself, Kyle as well. He and I run a software development company here in the United States where we've looked at various different industries and tried to figure out whether there's certain technological ways to help advance it, make things easier, for the user, for anyone. And in doing so, we've learned a lot about ICD-9, ICD-10, and thought that we could infuse a little bit of technology to the situation and create this smart code solution to help musicians. So I run the business side of things for the company, and Kyle is our resident developer and computer genius and can do pretty much anything. So I will pass it off to him now and show you a quick demo and have a Q&A and see if we can figure something out here.
All right, go ahead and share my screen to everybody. Hopefully y'all can hear me well.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Yep, can hear you.
So you should be able to see my smart code dashboard. Just as a quick overview, it's entirely web-based. At the moment, we also do have an iOS client as well, development at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and search for a diagnosis, and I'll explain to you how the whole screen is out. Feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions, and I will explain it as best as I can. So I'll go ahead and search diabetes as just a general search term, and we'll do some other potential diagnoses in a minute. But I wanted to explain to you how the interface works. It's divided into two sections, the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So go ahead with the left-hand side. At the top, we have our search bar, the results that we've gotten, type of search that we're doing. In this particular case, we're doing ICD-9, and we can easily switch to ICD-10 just by toggling the radio button. And in this view below that is our results table. And this is based on, this is where all the secret sauce comes in, the information storage and retrieval, algorithms kick into play, and it then displays these particular results. I'll explain that in a second, but it just says the entry in this particular results field, we have the ICD-9 code, the ICD-10 GEMS crosswalk, the description of the ICD-9 code, and then our notifiers column. The notifiers column is what's really key for Smart Code, and this is what helps dictate what results are seen in Smart Code. So there's a couple different factors that come into play for each individual client. So each client can set up their own common codes that are constantly used within their particular organization, and those common codes will be displayed and weighted heavier, so they'll be displayed at the top of the results list. We also have codes that are defined as risk-adjusting codes, so the ones that could help you potentially capture some additional revenue. So in this case, our 250.42 is a risk-adjusting code that's indicated by this $sign notifier. The identifiers column has the little blue plus sign, and this little blue plus sign indicates that for a 250.42 code, we need to use an additional code. And in this particular case, it's to identify the underlying manifestation. This little icon is just a more info icon, and in this case, you can click it and see some additional details about each of the codes. In this case, 250.42 doesn't really have any additional information. It's one of the most highly specific codes in ICD-9, so there's not much more that we need to learn from that. Now that
Can you stop for a minute? Can you explain again the blue button?
The blue plus sign?
Yep.
The sign is just it's not a button. It's just an icon to indicate that you need to use an additional code. And blue plus sign actually corresponds to the tree view on the right-hand side, which I was just about to get to, and I'll show how it correlates in a second.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So I'll just go right into that. So on the right-hand side is what we call the tree view, and this is a decomposition of the that we're currently looking at based on the structure of the ICD-9 data. So see that this is a green highlight on the results view, and this is the highlight within the tree all the way deep down as a leaf down here, 250.42. And if I click between two, we can see that that particular highlight switches back and forth depending on whatever we're selecting. Behind the tree view is that you see the most specific code, and then as a coder, you read back up tree. So we're at 250.42, and we'll go to 250.4 for diabetes, and we see here's that use additional code indicator, and that's what the blue indication means. We have that blue additional code, which means somewhere within the structure of the 250 code, somewhere we need to use an additional code. In this case, it's to identify that underlying manifestation, whether it's chronic kidney disease or fibrosis. So we see, and it's going to have to then code for that chronic kidney disease. So it has to be a 585 through 585.9 code, and we can click on that, and it brings up this modal all the same page so that you can then see what the stages are and what the coder needs to code for specifically based on what stage of chronic kidney disease patient is in. And if we go back up, we have additional information that's being loaded straight from the ICD-9 code set, and that's like that includes exclusions and inclusions, just additional data if necessary. It talks about what you can and cannot use with the 250 codes. And the last indicator once we get to the final, all the way up to the top for the 250 codes it's a fifth indicator, meaning that there is going to be a fifth digit definition, and that's essentially what we're seeing here is that 0, 1, 2, 3, depending on whether it's type 2 or type 1 as uncontrolled or controlled. To notify you as the coder that we are using the fifth digit. We can also, just as a quick segue, because there are fourth digits that occur as well, especially in the E codes. There's not a railway accident, for example, and this indicator is that fourth digit instead of the fifth digit. And see in this particular definition, we have all the fourth digit definitions already dynamically created for you. 0, 1, 2, 3, 8, and 9, depending on what type of incident it was. And you can see that the inclusion term at the top of this particular tree is a fourth digit as well. So and then it tells you that in the code set, you got to go and look at that particular beginning of the section at E800 to E85 for additional codes. And again, we can click on that to get more details. And in this particular case, the E800s, the E845 cover a couple of different sections. So it actually is the air and space transport and the railway accidents. See those particular fourth digits for E800 to E807, and also for E840 to E845 are additional fourth digits. So while the particular section range, I would say, covers more than just what we're looking at here, it just gives you additional information if you need it. With that, I'd like to switch over and do a little bit more in anesthesiology and radiology. And this one, I'll switch over back and forth between ICD-9 and ICD-10. But before I continue, does anybody have any questions? Does everybody see what?
Carl, you want to address the fact of where all this data is coming from that you're assembling on the interface? I mean, this is all based on the CMM's crosswalk thing, SMLIs under the architecture of smart code, correct? Can you just address that a bit?
Yeah, so the GEMs are just a small part of what we use. The GEMs just kind of help us do a mapping between ICD-9 and ICD-10. Well, they're not very detailed. I mean, there's only about 4,000 direct mappings between two, and ICD-10 has over 68,000. So it lets us do the linking between the two. Each code set we use an XML-based data set from the WHO and the CDC. We've actually had to generate our own ICD-9 XML set because that doesn't exist. So that's what we're using to analyze and to search through using different techniques and then matching them together based on whatever we find and then displaying them in a user-friendly manner.
Hi, this is Eric. Is there any index setting in the software? Suppose if we put it will show the index listing.
Are you talking about the index like from a code book where you look at the alphabetical, then you go to the tabular list?
Yes.
We're going to be adding that. That's something that's in the to add. Carl, you want to address that?
Yeah, the alphabetical index is already in place for ICD-10. Actually, I'll go ahead and do that. So we were to probably with salpingitis, so I'll just do salpingitis and search in ICD-9, and you get the right codes for ICD-9, but in ICD-10 we use a different terminology for it. And we see that we have certain codes here, but we were not receiving all of the ICD-10 codes that were being that use salpingitis for whatever reason. There could be a number of reasons depending on how it's defined, but when you look at the notifiers column, we have this little dictionary icon that indicates that this particular code was matched against the alphabetical index and then fetched. So we can then say, like, for this one where the description didn't have salpingitis in it at all, but we were able to pick up because it is defined in alphabetical index underneath the entry for salpingitis. And you can see all the codes that were associated with it. A52 for all the H68. So this is everything that's matched to that particular salpingitis code.
So Kyle, just to clarify, this is what I would see if I were looking at a code book or an online version of a code book, right?
That's correct. Like if you went to look for salpingitis, you'd see these particular codes.
Okay. Did I?
Can you do that once again? How to search that index?
Last question.
But can you search option? Can you initiate the search option again? Was the question?
Yeah.
Yes, for it again. So some of the results we're going to get immediately because it has the term salpingitis in the description. But we also do additional analysis on the alphabetical index to and look for codes that have salpingitis or have been defined with salpingitis. And we add those codes into the result set so that, and then obviously rank them depending on all the matching criteria, all the criteria that we have set up and display here. But we also wanted to indicate to the user that these particular codes were fetched from alphabetical index, and that is what the little book icon indicates right next to that you can see on the screen that I'm hiding. I'm trying to highlight. Here we go. Okay, so those ones were all fetched from the index, and you can see that that's salpingitis. So, and that wasn't initially picked up because we have more specific codes above it, but it was added in just in case. And it looks like the A5424 code. It doesn't have salpingitis defined it, but it is defined in the alphabetical index, hence we're adding it here. We can then hit the more info button details about what that index entry was in the alphabetical index for ICD-10 and all of the different terms that have been associated with this particular code.
Great, good.
Okay. Yeah. So that way, let me get back to where. So I'm going to do anesthesiology and radiology as well. So I'll go ahead and go back to ICD-9. And one example was going to be about fracture of the shaft. And example, we can see the 813 codes are coming through for fracture. And detailed codes are listed on the tree view on the right-hand side. And we can see that this is for radius and ulna. We can obviously do ones that are more specific based on whether it's the radius alone or the all-known alone. Back over to the tree view or the results view, we can see the crosswalk includes a lot of different codes. So we can see that for 813.3, there's almost 10 different codes. We know that there's, with this particular mapping, 813.3 is going to have a lot of different options in it. So if we go ahead and switch over to ICD-10 search, we can see that a fracture of the radius of the shaft is an S52 code. And in this particular case, this is where we'd have to go back to the surgeon or the physician and get more information about the diagnosis to really make sure that we have the most specific code to define exactly what's happening. In this case, the tool has just selected the first result. All of these could be potential candidates because they are the shaft of the radius. We'd have to go figure out if it's a right or left, or if we don't know, right fracture.
Right. But in this particular instance, rather than go back to that did the clinical documentation of the visit, we can add a word or an alert here, can we not, to say, hey, watch for this because you need to give us this information, right? Can you address that, the keyword thing?
The alert thing is something we are building out, and that's actually you can definitely add that on each individual code itself, and it will be listed here. So add a keyword is a slightly different functionality, but we can add instructions on a code basis that will then show up in the particular listing. And that's an example.
So in other words, to make sense of the confusion of ICD-10 come October 1st, 2015, will be the guys that are examining the patients and documenting the visit. If they're complete, if they're not accurate, if they don't know ICD-10 granularity and specificity, there's going to be a back and forth between the clinician and the coders. This allows us to minimize that with these types of enhancements that they built into it. So
that's correct.
Yeah.
Ram's question, when we look at, this is just for risk adjusting code, but each one we can define specific instructions and directions, and this particular Tamanilla code, this 003.1, we can view and see that no information really was given with his directions, but these particular directions can be loaded directly in on a per code basis in case there needs to be specific actions taken on certain codes. So
would that be a user specified directions can be loaded like a sticky note there?
At the moment, it's actually site-wide, and we're building into the system itself a little bit more to make it on a per-user basis. That's kind of a way to do it as a per-user at the moment that we've seen people do. That's using the keywords addition, and I'll just go ahead and show you how that works. So if I wanted to go ahead and add a keyword, I can just say I'll use my name as a keyword, and I can add it in. We'll see that particular, my name is now a keyword attached to S52.311. And back here, I could, it should bring it up, although I think it's trying to, do a diagnosis on me instead of the keyword search. But this here, we would have to then add in the keyword for that particular fracture code. Way to do it if it's not trying to, it's trying to be too smart at the moment.
Yeah. I have one question. The high code is S52.311 because episode of care. There is no information regarding seventh digit requirement in your
a little bit on me.
The seventh digit is indicated on the right of the fracture of forearm.
Right. So I was going to show you what the seventh. This particular one doesn't have the seventh character definition. This particular S52 doesn't require it. but I'll show you one that does. So I'll go ahead and bring that one up in ISCD-10. So you see how it dynamically, the tool itself will dynamically create the 7-character definition. So in case the S82 has a 7-character definition as well, and we can see that it dynamically creates all of these based on what code that I've selected on the left-hand side. So as I choose, S82-121, it'll go ahead and update the code and the description based on the 7-character definition of S82. Updating.
There's a highlighting point stating that 7th digit requires.
No, there is it shows 7th digit is available on the top.
I need code description itself. Like this.
So the code book will show and highlight that for this S82.121, you require a 7th digit.
Can you repeat the question is? We're not understanding it.
When you go to the tabular list of ICD-10, there's 52.311. Will be mentioning of 7th digit requirement.
No, yeah, what Eric is asking is, they use the code books and the online code books. And go to a particular selection like S52.111, it immediately alerts that there is a 7th digit needed for that. The specificity is higher for that code. So as he get to know that from the software, if you can show it, we help. But you have to make a choice here. Okay? Probably we are not understanding.
Do you understand the question that they were asking?
It's very hard for me to hear on my particular phone what's going on.
Okay, so can you just repeat the question slowly, please, so we can understand it?
Can you repeat it if you hear it?
Yeah, I'm trying to listen to what the question is, so I can translate from Indian English to Boston English.
Yeah, it seems very fuzzy to me, so that's the only thing.
Yeah, the quality is not the best with his VoIP sometimes. But could you repeat the question slowly, please?
Ram, can I dial it into the bridge so that the quality is better?
No, it'd be a bit difficult right now. Just repeat the question slowly, please, if you don't mind.
The question is, in using a code book, yes, 82.121,
Okay.
it indicates that a 7th digit is needed there right away. Okay? So when Eric's question is, when I'm using this software, how do I know that this code requires a 7th digit? Or be checking whether a 7th digit option is available and then I have to choose it. That would a few extra steps to identify if there are other options available for this code.
Well, you've indicated 7 in a circle for entire S82 category, right? Right. So it means anything with S82.xxx will need a 7 code, is the way I'm reading that.
Correct.
Okay, that's the answer, is that yes, by virtue of the 7 on the very top entry, anything S82.xx will require 7 code. So that's our information right there.
The T level they are indicating.
It's pointing to the 7 with the circle.
Yeah, no. The entire tree, all the codes have the 7 codes.
I'm losing you guys.
No, I'm just explaining to Eric. No, the whole code structure has the 7 attached to it. Okay, go ahead.
And that's what he's showing. That's what he's showing on the top entry there.
Go ahead. Let's proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that concludes what I want to show you in the demo, just kind of give you an idea of how the tool works and comes together. So that's up to any other questions that you guys have.
The key advantage, if I can summarize, I think, to what these guys, Smart Code is it's a little bit of a lot of tools in one. There's the Google-like search keywords, which you see on icd10data.com. And you can click, and eventually go from 9 to 10, but it requires multiple clicks. Here, you get it in toggling between one radio button and another, 9 and 10, 10 and 9. That's one. The other thing is this whole concept of being able to customize a site-specific or on a plan-specific. We're adding some more things to this, and we'll be happy to give you a list of those types of things that are in the works, but should be completed here fairly soon. High-risk codes. We'll have a global billing versus a site billing type of thing. We'll have a global this and a site this. The whole concept is that you can pretty much customize this according to either your site or a specific payer, right? And by so doing, minimize the back and forth, which is really the cause of the delay. In fact, it's denial if it slips through the process, right? So, kind of, you want to add that, Andrew, as well, if you have any comments on it?
No, you hit the nail on the head, really.
Great summation of it, and I don't think I have anything else to add other than I appreciate the time and I'd love to try and figure out to mutually do business together. We can give maybe some test logins so that you can get a system, work with it, and we can get feedback and see what you think.
Yeah, I suggest that, guys, that we'll create a couple of test accounts for you. Have a look at, give us some feedback, wish list. Oh, right, this is IT, so we're used to, hey, we're nice if we can do this, we can do that. We may address some of those, we may not. Others depend on the effort involved and the architecture that these guys have implemented in their design. But this is truly, to me, and a lot of products before we teamed up. And just to explain the relationship here, we are going to be adopting Smart Code under a Smart Navigator brand label. We will have exclusivity in certain regions that we have proposed and are signing an agreement with these guys. They have a couple of clients that are using this right now. I think those were a couple of years ago when things were getting postponed. And I'm not sure where those clienteles are, but we're keen on not only taking it from where it is, adding to it. And then the other thing, Srini, I shared with you back and forth, is that I'm exactly sure where the medication treatment management things fit in, or the PQRS things fit in, but we're at enhancing the product also to some extent if there's a good fit there with the 400 some odd measures of PQRS and whatever else we can do with the MTM. So this is going to be an evolving product. But we're today, and I've got a background in software IT development. I've searched high and low, and I got to think this is one of the best tools out there, comparatively speaking.
Some light on if when a new user signs it, what is the training and support mechanism? How to handle that?
Well, it's because we're going to bundle a call center for anybody. The model we have is really kind of unique also. And honestly, I don't know if it's going to click or not. I mean, this is business, so you make assumptions and you go for it and let the market decide and tell you where it goes. My initial concept, Srini, was we would offer this on a month-to-month subscription, but in a call center that's within a phone call on demand away. So essentially, whether it's Smart Navigator or code related, how do I do this kind of thing? Hey, I had a problem with this, nothing to do with the tool. Can you help me? We will also assist them. So my concept is that because of the chaos I anticipate that's going to happen in the market, especially after listening to the congressional meetings in D.C., small physicians, man, they're freaking out big time. These guys are freaking out big time with what's going to happen. Everybody else is saying, CMS, we're ready, AHIMA, we're ready, each of our vendors are ready, but then you listen to William Terry, a urologist out of a 10 physician practice, and then another group, and they're freaking out big time because I think it's going to be very, very chaotic process for this to happen. And so I can realize at the end of the day, people get so frustrated with keyboard keying or chatting online or email. Pick the phone, give a call, ask your question. So we're bundling that where all possible. Now, obviously, if we bundle the subscription to the tool and the call center, the price goes up a little bit. But I still want to free up each product set so that you can subscribe only to the tool or you can subscribe only to the call center. Now, answering your question, training-wise, we probably allocate some time with one of our medical coding staff out of India or Philippines to spend some time with a customer to walk them through if that's needed. We'll beef up the user guide, the user documentation, so that they can go on their own. But I'm a big high-tech, high-touch kind of guy. Okay, I've seen it too many times during my Pfizer days. The people at Sample Bank, people at IT, I reported to. There's a huge gap in between. So I want to make sure that we're there on a call basis. So we would likely probably offer with a subscription a free X number of hours training from our support team, whether from India or from the Philippines, wherever they might be located. So that's the answer to your question. Yeah. So teamwork session training where our guy comes in, shows the new physician subscriber how this works. In 30 minutes, just like Kyle has wonderfully done on his demo, bring them up to speed and let them play with it. And then when they got queries and questions, pick up the phone and call us, right? And so that's the way we plan to train people. We want to make sure we put hands all along the process.
Great.
Any other comments?
Thanks, and it was helpful for us to look at it. And if we have some test logins, we will start working on it. We are starting on dual coding for us now. In the next month or so, we're discussing at this point.
Okay, so
we are going to be doing that so we can evaluate this tool more.
So Srini, give us email addresses of people you want to have test accounts, and then Kyle, you can manage to do that maybe in the next day or so.
Yes, definitely.
So we'll create accounts for you guys, and you can go to town on them, and then feedback, those comments, those questions, because they're very helpful, obviously, to us also.
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any comments before we wrap up?
Thanks, Kyle and Andrew, for your time, late evening for you guys, and taking time to do this demo. We appreciate it.
Thanks. We're here to help whenever you need, and hopefully we can start developing this relationship a little more.
My interest in this product again is need to be familiar and convinced that it is going to be a great help. And we see a lot of challenges in correct coding by the physicians in the retail segment. 1Gs and 2 doctor settings, they are not as helpful or as audited on the coding strategies, and a lot of denials, and pushing it back to them, they never respond. So if claim is done correctly the first time, it helps. We work on the principle of good standard performance on the 90% pass payment. Analysis of the denials reveal that it's a majority of it are coding related. So now the practices to improve their coding, it helps us to improve their collections better. are now working with EMR companies, and they have come back asking that they want to roll this ICD-10 services their entire installed base of more than 10,000 doctors.
Okay.
So we don't know how we are going to participate. We are still discussing on that program there. And probably if we have an ability to pitch in with this service, we would like to white label and go after that market.
So say a majority of the problem comes from coding. Would that be from the clinician lack of documentation and or from coders? I mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Happen or see with some the EMR, I get an export of the soup, okay, and they have chosen the code. And sometimes what will happen is that the server does not for the diagnosis selected. And many a time they would have chosen an incorrect code. So look at chosen obesity as a diagnosis code, and you would have done lipid profile testing, not payable code. This software is not going to help because it does not have the CCI set corresponding to the code. But we also have a lot of times that they choose unspecified code most of the time, or lack of specificity is one of the major causes. So if we have, the doctor has an access to it, and what I was looking at and asking if there is a sticky note option available, and we put in a sticky note saying that some of these are not payable if it is selected. So it is that have to keep on building, but it does not have the sticky note. I thought you guys said that it is going to work on it, but there are note section available where we can put in some notes as a CPT against the diagnosis code. So we are looking at multiple options to improve our.
I think we discussed that, Kyle. Did we not? We discussed one of the things that we will need a kind of a sense to people. This is a billing code. This is not a billing code. Did we not address that, Kyle, in terms of adding it to the tool?
The way it's architected is we can easily add in any type of generic notifier that we want, as long as we can define it on a per code basis. So that mechanism is in place. And the mechanism is in place. I just have to build out the front end so that the administrators and managers can go in there and make those changes.
The best thing to do, guys, to bridge the gap here between how to do it in the tool and what you want. That's what you want on the email, and then have Kyle create a specific code. This is what it would look like with what you gave us that you want to see, and then you could see it that way. And if it's dual in the tool, or it can be enhanced slightly differently, then we're happy to discuss those types of enhancements to make this a more valid tool for you guys also. Authorize then test accounts from email. Trini, you'll email me, and once the test accounts are there, maybe shortly thereafter, some kind of a wish list scenario of, okay, we want to add this keyword because this is not a billing, that's a billing code, and we will have Kyle work on it to put it together. Okay. All right.
All right.
Great.
Good day.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye then.
Or good morning.
Which the case is.
Yes.
Sweet dreams.
Exactly. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.